gold sand,
grey metallic sea,
wet salt and bright seagulls,
a storm of bicycles blowing in from the coast,
the glide and swerve,
the keen, precise gaze,
a split-second swoop,
the child's soft hand and the lost sandwich prey.
Sirens sing stars in the ambiguous distance, beating familiar bounds.
The mew and cry like the cry of kites, and the lights that wink on boys to guide us beyond all storms. Old sailors rock on the strand,
like the waves after waves that shaped this town.
and on the edge of the hot brick wall, young hard souls press on the burning flat roof.
Looking upwards, always upwards. Boys see days folded into tidy squares,
Multicoloured,
trailing their bunting tails.
market voices are invisible strings coated with glass. Their warrior fight, dicing,
Slicing,
dueling,
dancing lightly into billowing currents.
scent of spices and raw fish,
The tick of bicycle wheels,
the art of feeling the elements right down in the fingertips on the edge of that roof, far below. Hands hold hands,
shake hands,
hand over goods and letters,
lend a hand in times of need.
hands on beating hearts. I am the genie of the tree, walk under me, beyond my shade.
Kites wheel and cry above asphalt, round trimmed green spaces, over the statue of mother and child.
A small dead kite, pinion feathers spread, lies on the warm brown ground. Its beak begins in yellow and soft down ruffles out from thin twig shins.
Schoolgirls huddle, hardly more than babies themselves, killing time between swings and slides, while out on the parched red earth, boys spin cricket balls like tiny planets, each one resembling home.
The dead chip invites them, but they've heard that even in death, kites hide razor-sharp magic, and they know not to answer that spell.
Poached eggs and sliced bread dangle from hands momentarily safe, and the air tastes of stewed tea and weak orange squash. You climb the elephant frame, rung by rung, over the back, dizzyingly high and down, feet clinging to metal, into the trunk itself.
Beyond the sage trees, still with their grey trunks, a patch extends to the wall. There is nothing there.
But for the first time, they see it. Strung in a frayed line, boys walk home the long way, down alleys where they recognize each stone, each step, the snapped crosspiece of a fallen kite. Square orchards catapult cold opulent mulberries, fat and juiced, into the hands and mouths of passers-by.
The day tires itself out, dims. Long verandas mute and dark. Under brick arches extending forever, small benches confined in themselves. Schoolboys dream of flying ships, and even the last nuns have gone back to their nests. Leaves mingle with dry dirt under handmade shoes.
An old man perambulates, keeping pace with a small girl, both on the same wavelength, picking out sights and sounds.
Saving them for later. They wave out across a field of a flock of young women, each in a second, as they converge on the right. Leaves mingle with dry dirt under handmade shoes.
An old man perambulates, keeping pace with a small girl, both on the same wavelength, picking out sights and sounds.
Saving them for later. They wave as, across a field, a flock of young women, each in a separate clear colour from head to toe, laugh as they converge on the left.
Fences are made to be climbed,
Keeping no one out.
keeping no one in.
The canal rushes by, swift, milky with soil, and
A long walk away in the sun.
a boy waits with a cloth full of tangerines and chilled glass to sit on.
His slingshot lies beside him.
Earlier, he loaded it with mud bullets and caught each dancing fleck of sun on the fecund stream with his eagle eye.
Girls' voices dip and dive like birds.
Beaks snapping above each curl and edge. The waters awash with sunshine stars.
Each star is the sharp threat of a shuriken, the menace of a slow death by rust and dirt. Every daft boy returns, like the promise of Gilgamesh.
High above, a Shaheen falcon, king of the sky, hovers on durable air.
Children range through dusty roads bearing bundles of corn, the old woman with the great wok.
She works her cauldron like a painting in an old book, her charcoal fire jammed in with clay. She takes the corn without a word, keeps a handful that she ties up in the kerchief at her waist, and throws the rest into the hot black sand in her cauldron, stirring it unerringly until she scoops it up and gives them their tablecloth of hot, billowing white clouds, smelling of promise and comfort.
They eat them as dusk rolls along empty streets, long shadows flexing like a violinist's fingers. An old house
Beautifully carved with wooden balustrades,
glows gold in the last sun. Rose madder clouds
burnt umber and cobalt blue,
fade in streaks and dreaming shapes.
lit up in the distance behind.
Swifts fly back and forth.
The house looks empty.
Perhaps there has been no one in it for 100 years.
Perhaps the swifts are the only inhabitants.
And perhaps they'll get up to secret things inside after the dark has fallen. And even wandering children have gone back to their watercolour palettes and squared maths exercises at home.
The sky breaks like bread,
Scatters on the swell.
and rain buckets down. Bubbles like astronauts' helmets prepare for a descent into concrete.
Ripples like saucers hold the cup of each hollow splash.
Raindrops fill a map-lined hand. A paper ship holds a paper man,
Who sags,
off course,
undone.
cannot stand up to the toll. In the clouds, colours compete and clash, and tire themselves into blankness.
In the blackening sky, Orion gleams into life.
His serious hand dazzle eyes and barking at the earth.
Where a child leans her head on her father's knee,
Listen,
while men sit up late,
sharing bearded epics and old mysteries,
listening.
studying operating manuals for imaginary spacecraft, listening,
Hearing unfathomable avenues forging into the Milky Way. Books flutter on wicker tables.
Ages whispering to the scattered scents of lemon and fennel.
An owl answers a dog.
And a mouse shrieks.
A distant pump thumps.
A dozen winking lights flicked amongst the reeds.
I am the genie of the tree. Walk under me, and your soul will shrink and fade, swallowed by all my hungry shadows. I would give you lip-red berries, but your side of the bargain is wrinkling in the shade. You might not know much about dryads and dry riverbeds, sugar-fat wasps, and the banal intricacies of war, but I was at your elbow in the classroom when cannon fire shook windows and small milk bottles from 30 miles away.
That was when the world cracked apart. And we looked inside, and teachers and milkmen sang songs from the war and fetched spindly ladders to take black paper over the skylines. Blackout blinds are scarcely what the tailors have a habit of making, but the pattern never alters, and they can always run them up on their old machines, those same machines that you will be working on one day.
Small tables filled with China tea sets
Spiced pastries,
and aromatic teas. Bowls of roses
strident and pink,
send out their scent in a powerful onslaught of peace and love.
at least for the afternoon. There's the clink of spoons, a pinch of salt to break the fast, the murmur of voices, men's voices jostling and diving over each other as their white ironed shirts shift with each animated thought, and small dogs dive and scavenge. Small children seize biscuits and listen in.
Listen. Strong and silent, the women bring new teapots and think about home.
The sun,
Moving, unmoving.
melts into a milder, low-lying glow. Shadows deepen. You want to stay there, but your thoughts stray to the tree, to the owl that hides in my branches.
To the spirit that you know listens in as much as you.
Talk turns to morale and natural disasters.
Over 1,000 miles away, there are floods.
Where, if you manage to perch on a ravaged tree, all you have to drink is water full of feces, blood and mud.
And bloated faces
An open mouth.
nibbling at sagging clouds.
It is no food, so you must send money, tins and blankets.
You must send pencils, dried milk and Wellington boots.
Because you know in your heart what it is like to drink that kind of water, what a wayward tree offers and demands as it rides the rushing brown ooze.
There are floods hereabouts too. And there is talk among those who remember the war of going down to put sandbags against the tide.
While those who are too young dream of what to do when the water comes, rushing into our homes, making the tables float.
There are plans to which all agree.
To go down with steaming cauldrons of food for the families on the edge of the new wide sea.
But here, under this tree,
My
this tree,
where even your shrunken soul can barely find shelter.
there's only beetles
Small, dried leaves.
and grains of fallen bark.
The radio people say men have landed on the moon.
So you walk into the garden and look at it, stuck in its glass half-sphere, almost close enough to touch.
But you see no men.
So you stare at the earth, in the flower beds, unable, try as you might, to see it revolve.
You want to hear more.
But the radio people have gone to bed, stretching out beneath their miniature blankets inside their Bakelite box.
So you climb into your snug bunk with its cotton sheets and hand-knitted blanket.
But you are kept awake by an endless military parade with bagpipes playing the flowers of the forest and all the women weeping.
The moon will still be there in the morning, whether you can see it or not.
The moon will still be there.
I am the genie of the tree.
Walk under me.
And see yourself standing at an open casement
Where all your stories began.
in a square the size of a child's game,
The dreaming day lays out its wares.
as if for the first time,
Old gold sand,
grey metallic sea,
wet salt and paper kites.
all the bright things we carry in our pockets,
And well-worn pouches.
flags of every nation blur into a promise,
An invitation to forget the selves we fly.
like careful kites.
As memory calls action, crowds swerve and pace,
Piercing space with their super-optic eyes,
hardly aware of their own intuition.
hardly aware of the landlocked sailors ranked on raking benches with soft cracked smiles they freighted from far-off lands.
A fresh breeze muscles ashore,
Ruffling feathers,
riffing on the perfect aim of boys threaded to kites.
home calls and catches,
Clasps the whole known world.
a pugnacious kite,
Mewing as it swoops and curves.
rides the same currents down,
Telescopic eyes fixed on the target.
claws snatching the samosa from a child's soft hand.